So I think at one point or another, I had said that growing your YouTube channel is a lot like growing a plant. This is complete bull, and anybody that tells you that is just trying to create some analogy. But you can only speed up plant, growth so much. There's people out there that can throw millions, even billions to advertisement. So I want to give a video on my opinion on growing your YouTube channel. Now, I want to start off by saying that there's only one true secret to growing your YouTube channel.
Instant cocoa butter, discovered by my great-grandfather ilitwali tumbusiri mung'ana mpenda raha na raha ikampenda.
And that's cocoa butter. But other than that, I want this video to be taken with a grain of salt because, number one, because you can't formalize success, and so take everything with a grain of salt. I didn't want to make this video in the beginning anyways, but I just recently hit 100 subscribers, and we're about to do some YouTube channel reviews pretty soon for some people that have sent them in, and so this will be kind of a pre-video for that. Now, another reason why I wanted to make this video was so that later on I can come back and possibly even correct myself or look at the things that I wasn't too sure about. But anyways, if you're out there and you have a YouTube channel, you should constantly be watering it like a plant, so to speak. You see, it's October now, and so it should be your end of the year resolution. And yes, I said end of the year resolution. I'm not a fan of New Year's resolutions. I usually start mine around September, around my birthday, and I hope to finish them by the end of the year. At that point, I just look at everyone else who's making their New Year's resolutions and they end up quitting them by February, but I've already accomplished mine. But either way, it should be right now one of your end of the year resolutions to be feeding your channel more. And we're going to go over a few things that you should feed your channel more in this video, so let's get into it. Now, straight up off the bat, new YouTubers, or should I say most of new YouTubers, either want to increase their views, increase their subs, views and watch time go hand in hand, or thirdly, increase monetization, which nowadays, it's kind of hard to start a new YouTube channel and get monetized pretty quickly, but it has happened. And so another thing that people want to do is also increase their revenue, or people that haven't even started getting ad revenue, they wonder what other ways that they could monetize their channel. And while this won't really be one of those videos, there are tons of videos like that entrepreneurs online have to offer. It's just a simple YouTube, Google search away. But for right now, for a lot of you new channels, the one thing you should be focusing on is increasing the content value of your videos and your channel overall. That's the most important part you should be focusing on right now at this moment, nothing else. Now, I know that giving the most content value is very subjective, as there's some people who are just, the only value they're giving you is a good laugh, which is still some channels' points. That's the whole point of them. You go see stand-up comedy to have a good laugh. And so while, content value will be subjected to everyone, just take it in the view of your own channel and add value to it. You should be striving to give the best to your viewer base. Now, one of the first things they'll tell you to try to figure out at the beginning is your viewer base. Number one, all the other videos that teach you how to, get more views, how to do all this and that, you can go and watch them, go and do all the ways, making titles so that they scale up and so that you can get searched really easily, tags and all this and that. We're not going to be going over that in this video, but I'm going to be honest, when they talk about target audience, if you are a brand new YouTube channel, hold off on that, do you, and let the target audience flow in. Now, sometimes they don't flow in too quick. And so in case that happens, if it's been a good few months, 6 months, maybe even a year, we're going to get into this later on in the video of why you shouldn't be focused on your target audience at the very beginning. But if you're out there and you've gotten to the point that you do need to look for your target audience, you do need to start targeting them for whatever you're trying to make, whatever creations, whatever you're trying to sell, honestly. There's tons of entrepreneurs out there that have videos focused on having you slim down on who exactly you're looking for. But for right now, just be focused on getting some content under your belt. What are you here for? Another thing, one thing that you should be asking yourself is, can my channel run? And what do I mean by that? I've seen some channels out there who, they get created, they post 40 or so lessons on specific topic that they know of, and then that's it. They haven't posted in 7 years. You know, is your channel just for a specific X amount of number of videos? Once you get it out, it's done. Or is it something that you can keep evolving? Because if you really want to, increase your views, increase that, you might get away with posting a good few amazing videos and just advertising them all over the place and bringing people in. But if that's all you got, it ends there. This is what they mean by you should be constantly posting, but don't be posting to the point that you're losing content value. As I said, that should be your main focus, is your content value. Now, when it comes to channels running, there's a really extreme way to get views, and that's by running with the bandwagon. Now, there's a good way of doing this, and we'll get onto it later on in the video, but there's a lot of channels that, it's hard to master it whenever you're moving from one thing to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. You see, when you're doing that, when you're staying with the YouTube times, you get a ton of views, but most of the time you'll see that there's a lot of content value that will be lacking in those videos. You see, Mrs. My Cat's a Virgo has done the same thing with her channel, gone from makeup tutorials to unboxing, I'm pretty sure, all the way to astrology, all the way to story times, to conspiracy theories. She's definitely an all-around YouTuber. Now, this isn't a bad thing necessarily, because look, she's got right under 1 million subscribers, and she's getting more than 1 million views per video. This is why I said to take my video with a grain of salt, as, she's obviously doing the thing that I'm saying not to do, and she's reaping a lot of reward for it. So take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. You don't want to be the channel that goes down as fast as it went up, so you really want to make a channel around something that you could keep it running, even if the times changed, because you can branch off, you can stay with the times while also staying in your specific niche. It's very possible. Okay, so I'm putting out the most and the best of what I can put out, and I'm constantly pushing out content that's great. What can I do now? Now at this point, you can engage. Remember earlier whenever I was talking about target audience, this is a time that you can actually start to focus in and hone in on who your target audience is. You see, you want to join groups, you want to follow pages, you want to stay and socialize, you want to be alive in sort of whatever X community that your target audience has to deal with, where your audience usually would hang out. You want to go and you want to talk there. Now, you don't want to go and just spam your stuff everywhere. I usually only lead people to my channel, especially on Reddit, usually 1 to 2 times out of every 10 posts. There's, I'll post and I'll give a long answer 8 times, and then the next 2 times I'll end up saying, hey, you might want to check out one of my videos. Don't be doing it all the time, because if you're just spamming, that does not make you look good. It's honestly not genuine. I only do it in extreme cases where I'm like, I could tell that they might enjoy this. Now, it's hard to tell over the internet. And so, as I said, be moderate with this. Don't just do what they say, like going into the YouTube comment section, commenting like, great video, blah, 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 some fake bullshit. You see, I block people all the time on Instagram who, whenever I post something, and it's always these shitty, fake entrepreneurs, like, I'll ask a question, or it'll be something simple that's just a yes or a no. And they'll just be like, great content with a bunch of emojis, and it's like, you didn't even read the thing. Or it'll be a picture and they're like, nice quote, like it's something that they had copied and pasted on each thing because they want you to see your name. And so if you can have a genuine conversation in the comments, that's like putting your stamp there. Now, don't be a dick, because you will get blocked, especially if you're dealing with a person like me, because every time that happens on Instagram, I usually block it, I delete it, and it's done. Because if I don't, they will comment on every picture, and they're not even it's not even true, and it's ungenuine, it's non-genuine. And that's the thing I want to get across to you, focus on your content and focus on being genuine. That's 2 things that really count that a lot of people look over. Now, when it comes to engaging in the community or whatever you're doing, you're going to want to take this into account. It's not just about how loud you shout, it's also about what you are shouting. Now, you don't need to go shouting in the extreme cases. And you also don't need to be whispering in the corner. But you do need a balance. Who's going to listen to some, drugged out, raving, lunatic, homeless man in the middle of the street who's talking about true facts? Who cares at that point? Nobody's going to listen to him. They're going to hog at him and tell him to get the hell out of the road. But, if you present yourself a little bit better, which I've noticed a lot of people aren't doing, and, I kind of suffer from this as well. But just always remember, when it comes to the internet, it's not just about how loud you shout, it's also about what you're shouting. So always be careful. Now, what can we do for boosts to the channel? Let's say you've gotten a few good boosts, you've moved up to 100, then 1,000, whatever, and now you're starting to stagnate out. Here's what I would do. I've actually just kind of recently done this now that I think about it. What I would do is, back when I was talking about the whole bandwagon thing, don't let your channel be a bandwagon, but you can let video here and there be a bandwagon while also staying genuine and true to the true purpose of your YouTube channel. Because a lot of people stem off, and I'm guilty for this too. And I've realized I've kind of done this recently with the freighter video. Funny enough, out of all my videos, within like a week and a half, it scaled up to like my 4th most watched video and most spent time watched video over the entire course that I've had my channel for, I think, almost like 2 years now, or a little over a year and a half. See, that's the power of bandwagoning. Or, while this isn't necessarily a bandwagon, when you bring up those things that aren't just you speaking out, you bring up topics that other people are thinking about, things that are being talked about. They'll talk about staying up with the media and what's going on and pushing for that. You see, you can do this every now and again, but make sure it has to do with your channel. I hate seeing channels that they're usually one specific thing, but then the next thing I know, they go on a specific tangent that has nothing to do with their channel, and I'm just like, what? It's not that I don't subscribe to them, it's just not a good thing that I see. It's just my opinions. As I said, take it all with a grain of salt. You see, you don't just want people to watch your videos, you want them to watch it again. You want them to share it. You want them to come back and watch it again. You want them to stick around. You want them to enjoy what they're saying. You want them to get something from it. You want them to apply whatever you're teaching. If you're a YouTube comedian, you might be wanting them to get a good laugh. There's YouTubers out there that have talked about making videos, and when they put out a video, they're not just thinking of somebody watching that or either liking or disliking it, but they're probably watching that and they're not spending time on the streets doing things that they shouldn't. This brighter side of looking at it. You want out of it what you're giving into it. You see, it's like if you ever talk to anybody who is in a band, you meet them and you ask them about things, and they'll tell you that the crowd puts on just as good of a show as they are to the crowd. You see, it goes back and forth. And so with you and your viewers, there's something you want to give to them other than just, the video. What's the meaning behind it? As I said, if you're a YouTube comedian, obviously you want something to get a good laugh. Figure out what that is, and you're closer to also figuring out your target audience. Now, when it comes to YouTube nowadays, you have a voice, maybe a very small voice, and we might not have that freedom forever. And so one thing you're going to want to do, as a lot of entrepreneurs say, don't put your eggs in just one basket. You should be getting on other platforms at least, just in case anything were ever to happen. And a lot of people do this. Now, it's not to say that you need to go all out, or that you just need to only get a Facebook. Some of them will tell you just handle one. Some of them will tell you to get on every platform. That's up for you to decide, and on what you can handle, honestly. Just make sure you leave your mark in a few more places than just YouTube. Now, let's go back to talking about engagement. Let's say you're vlogging. They'll tell you to get out there and do things that snag the viewer by their undying will, having a good hook, so to speak. You see, if you're a vlogger, or, you're someone, like me, just talking to a camera a lot, it'd be smart to study and learn what makes an engaging speaker. This is the one thing in this video that I have not taken my own medicine on. To be honest, so far, I've just been winging it. I haven't studied too much into speaking and what makes a good speaker versus a bad speaker. But if that's part of your main work, you want to keep mastering whatever you're doing. You see, if you're a gamer channel, even though you're not a comedian channel, most of us agree, you better be funny, at least. Especially if we're going to just be watching you play a shitty round of Call of Duty over and over again and just talking about your day and this and that, this is where you go back and you focus on content. How much does your content really, really weigh? You can look up to the people who are doing what you're doing. They're doing it a lot better usually. They have like 100 times more subscribers you do usually. This is how you can get into better ideas. Now, you don't necessarily need to copy them, but just start branching out and thinking. See, if you are a gaming channel, what makes a good game watching experience? Ask yourself that. Are you trying to show people let's plays, like specifically just you doing a story time while they're watching you do whatever? Or do you want to go through a game, kind of have a walkthrough of the game? Are you wanting to do the let's plays that kind of pull in the people that are hooked on fear? Like jump scares and stuff like that? Are you not even playing the games? Are you just reviewing new games? Are you just talking to the camera? Are you talking about things going on in the gaming development community? It can go even up there, and you can always do things out of the ordinary. There was at one point that and you can always go and do things out of the ordinary that have to do with gaming, as a lot of that audience seems to also like that type of shit. If you're a YouTube channel comedian, I'm not big into, I like watching comedian channels. However, it is an art, and I don't really know advice on how to help you master that art. If you are new to YouTube and wanting to be a comedian, you can, obviously search what makes a funny comedian. See, these things are so easy to find out and study and to get ideas about so that we can start thinking creatively. If you're brand new, you're wanting to be funny as hell on YouTube, there's a lot of people doing the whole YouTube channel, comedian YouTube channel, like they'll just talk about crazy things going on. Usually has to do with a specific channel, a specific video that just got really hot. The channels out there like Elvis the Alien, Leon Lush, Weast, etc. Go watch those. Go watch people doing better than you and gain the inspiration you need. Now, if you're doing Kinder Egg videos, please stop. But basically, I'd honestly have to say, when it comes to YouTube, number one, know what you're doing. Number two, plan for the future. Is your channel going to run, or are you having to just post a set 10 videos? Master your practice constantly, whatever it is. I know I didn't name everything under the sun, but master what you're doing. Don't just regurgitate to a camera. Put out the best content that's engaging, and then engage back with your audience. And these 5 last tips, you might not even need these. There's tons of channels doing it without it. You can't formalize success in any areas. A lot of people will tell you you need your setup to look really good. It needs to look professional, but those rules aren't static for everyone. If you go back and look at H3H3's videos, his early videos, they're really ugly. They're really fucking ugly, but they're funny as hell. And he got a shit ton of subscribers. And see, that's what happened. This is why you can't necessarily take anybody's how to do this, how to do that. But I did want to put this here because I know I will come back. I'll refine, I'll question the things that I said and put in this video, and honestly, we'll see where this goes. As I said, be prepared. Everybody's minds are constantly changing. Has nothing to do with paradigm rewriting. This is a natural thing that happens when you don't get locked into specific thoughts, and so if it does for you, and you can luckily get out of it, stay looking at where your thoughts are, where your emotional cycles are, and look back at mindset. See, people go back and forth between their beliefs, not just religious beliefs, but beliefs just on common sense, their view of reality. And so, with everything you're doing, even with the YouTube channel, look at where you were a year ago. If your channel's a year old, if it's not, just remember, don't be anything besides you. Don't try to bullshit. Don't try to fake anything. And if you do, come back, correct yourself, and correct yourself even if you're not doing that. But look exactly where you get the best results in your life on what you do and how you do it. It's really the best we can ever do. But either way, until I come back, I will for you all to prosper and have a great day.